On today's episode, we're answering the question, no, we're not, because I'm on the wrong damn outline. So I think one of the big freedoms that I know I've struggled to find and have been better at finding, but I think most of our listeners struggle to find is that time freedom.
Yeah.
We're chained to our desks. How do we do this stuff, still make the profit that we need and want to support our families, and free up time when we don't have time to do the work you see where there's that catch-22?
Yeah, there is.
How do we start?
You start by the low-hanging fruit, Allison. You start by the low-hanging fruit. And so many people think that this is such an overwhelming task. It's like, there's so much here, I can't even start. Well, really, so much has changed over the last couple of years. Does your promise? So let's start with the promise and roll through some of these, because it really starts with the promise. Does your promise really is it still relevant to your customers? Has it changed over the last couple of years? And when we're developing a promise, it's like, okay, what's their problem? What's the client's problem? What's your unique way of delivering the service different from your competitors that's going to give them a better life, right? Because we said it already about ourselves, everybody buys a better life. So a lot of people haven't actually gone back and re-looked at their promise and whether or not those processes, those products, and the people align to it. So without doing that homework and going back and doing that and working on your business a little bit and not in it, so you start off by giving yourself an hour a week to work on your business and work through some of these strategy things. And then you're working through that stuff. And I've got a whole plan and process. It's called Love It or Leave It. And that's the kind of stuff you're working in the areas that you love to work in, and you're leaving the rest for other people that's their area, their love it zone, their area of genius. And when you start doing that, the business grows and thrives. And when that happens, you're working in the area you love, they're working in the area they love, and you're making more money. And how can that happen? It can only happen through aligning the right process. And that's that sort of P in the middle there, the word process or system. One of my coaches gave me the word system, an acronym for the word system, which I also like. It just starts with an S, not a P. But from that perspective, a system is something that saves you stress, time, energy, and money. So what does a system do? It saves you stress, time, energy, and money. So if you're feeling that overwhelm, you're feeling all that, your processes and systems aren't up to par. So what do? You start with the low-hanging fruit and you go back. How many systems are there in your business? There's a gazillion. There's your marketing systems, your sales systems, there's your hiring and firing systems, there's your accounting systems, your billing systems, your receivables. I mean, all of these different things, everything you do every day. And it's funny, I just posted on LinkedIn today, but this idea around if you do something more than 3 times, it needs a system. It needs a process.
Okay.
So if you're repeatedly doing something more than 3 times, your process isn't right. So, and if it is right, then you need to hone it. If you're going to own that process, then you need to understand that you can own it. But the idea there with the process is that you're really maximizing that process, really getting all of it down to a very fine structure so that either you or someone else, which is the part I like, someone else, you can now assign. Here's the key piece. You can now assign accountability. And, a lot of entrepreneurs delegate, but they don't hold the person that they delegated to accountable. So have they really delegated? No. They say they have, but they haven't, because that person doesn't own it. That's the true difference when you delegate a process to the right people. People, I spread down 3 people into 3. Your ideal client, which I'm sure you guys have talked a lot about and all that sort of stuff. And, everybody does. And then the other one is your ideal team member and your ideal outsource suppliers, anybody else who's helping you deliver your promise, right? So your ideal client has to be aligned to the promise. Your team members have to be aligned to the promise and understand what it is. And that's our job as leaders, to communicate that promise always so that they're fully in alignment. And all of our outsourced suppliers, all those other people that potentially we're assigning authority to give some of those processes to, so that we can alleviate ourselves of that frustration and go on the trip for a month. I just got back from a month. We own some retail stores. I hadn't been in our retail stores for a month. And why is that? Well, that's because I have the right processes. We have the right promise. Everybody knows it. Our products align to it. Our processes are in place so that all of my team can make the decisions they need to make at the lowest possible level in the organization. That's the other key, right? You want the decisions to be made at the lowest possible level of the organization so that you can enjoy your freedoms. And one of my freedoms that I wanted this year was I wanted to go away for a month.
You're using a phrase that Allison likes to use, the "so that" phrase, by the way, and you're tickling her ears every time you use it.
Oh, I know. I love it. Well, and you hit me with an acronym too. So, Thrive in System to Thrive is an acronym. So now I can make our whole podcast an acronym. Jenny's going to hate it. I'm going to love it. I'm
not going to love it.
Actually, I'm going to give us a second.
We need the second.
Because you literally just hit record and I was like, what? Oh my God, this is going to take forever. We literally haven't even gotten to the introduction of this.